My name is Dr. Jennifer Sankey, and I'm so excited to share with you today that we're emphasizing breast health 365 days a year. Here in the studio with me today is Joy Lynn Isaacs Shirley, and she is a radiology technologist who has been doing mammograms for over 30 years. So I invited her in today because we want to increase our awareness of how to prevent breast cancer and some of the ways that we can actually do screenings. Welcome, Joy Lynn.
Thank you, Dr. Sankey. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here with you and your amazing team this afternoon.
So, Joy Lynn, we've been talking about our commitment here about increasing awareness, education, support, resources. And so today we want to focus on the importance of prevention. So you'll hear me say breast health probably more than you hear me say breast cancer. So let's hear about some ways that we can prevent breast cancer.
Okay, thank you, doctor. There is no sure way to prevent breast cancer, but there are things we can do that might lower our risk for women who have a strong family history. It's recommended by the American Cancer Society that women of the age of 40 should start with their screening annual mammograms, and women who have a strong family history should start screening mammograms at the age of 35.
Wow. So one way we can reduce our risk would be the screening mammograms.
Correct.
Right. So does lifestyle play any part in reducing our risk? Really, that's one of the things I've started hearing a lot of buzz about is our lifestyle, how it could actually reduce our risk of breast cancer.
Sure, doctor. That's certainly true. What you put into your body, how you conduct yourself, very, very important. We need to be careful because we need to try our best to eat healthy. What do I mean by that? Lots of fruits, vegetables, your grains, plenty of water, and you need to get rest also. Exercise is something also that is very, very vital. It's very important that you try to maintain a great body weight. We have learned that being overweight also increases your risk for breast cancer. It says be physically active. Studies have shown that moderate or vigorous physical activities is linked with lower breast cancer risk. So let's practice regular physical activity. The American Cancer Society recommends that adults get at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity activity each week. So you want to make this a part of your life. You have to exercise. Make it a part of your life.
Joy Lynn, when you talk about that, it brings to my mind the scripture. Whatever you eat, drink, or do all to the glory of God. So many times we think about what we don't do. We may not drink alcohol or tobacco, but it's the things that we do that should glorify God. And so when I think about breast health, it sounds like there's several things that we can do.
Correct.
One, eating more fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
And I know that we want to eat the ones that have the nutrients in it. Because the cells in the body, those little tiny cells that we have millions of them in our body, they thrive on healthy food.
Yes.
That's the way they survive. Mm-hmm. And I heard that cancer cells are abnormal cells because they're not getting the nutrients.
Correct.
So what you said about eating is right. I agree with you. And the exercise, though, really, Joy Lynn, that's can be difficult for busy people. So just give me an idea of how can we incorporate exercise into our life to keep our breast and our whole body healthy?
Yes. So as I said, I could give a personal experience with exercise because, we're busy working and, I wake up each morning. Recently, I've decided that I have to do something. I'm saying, we ladies, you put on that clothes and it's not fitting the way it usually do. So I said, I have to do something. So I started going to the gym at least 3 days per week and walking with my husband. And also it helps to give you that extra energy that you need. But I realized that if I go home from work, that doesn't happen. So on my way home, I will stop at the gym, get my exercise, probably like an hour, Zumba, just anything, something that can make you sweat and get the cardio going. And I go home, do my supper, do my dinner, and make it a part of, with the help of God, I've realized that anything is possible. So yes, I realized that sometimes I don't feel like going. And I said, Lord, do I have to? And he says, yes, Joy, you must go and get your exercise for the day.
Well, when I was growing up, and I don't hear it as much anymore, but it was an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so we know many organizations who are trying to cure cancer, and they are doing a good work because they're doing the research. But what it sounds like, there's some things that we can take into our own hands to make sure that we have healthy breasts. And, that's a topic that many people don't even really talk about, except for maybe once a year. In October, there's our breast cancer awareness. But we know here at Southeastern, 365 days, there's probably at least one woman who's being diagnosed with breast cancer. And so we want to make sure that we give tools and information of how to have the very best breast health. So prevention is a big one. So lifestyle is a big thing.
Yes.
For prevention. Are there any other things that we can do to help with that prevention?
Also, Doctor, before I answer that question, I remember when you started this program about Be Health, I said, that is amazing that someone is taking that initiative to talk about breast other than October.
Yes.
Because every day of the year, people are diagnosed with breast cancer. And as I said, where I work, up to this week, we had someone that really did not have the resources that necessary needed for her to pay to have her examination done. But, she was in tears. And each day people are stressed, they're crying. And definitely, I love the fact that what you're doing, Dr. Jennifer, that we are putting it out there that every day, 365 days a year, someone is here to help you through your journey if you should be diagnosed.
That's actually true. It is a journey. It really is. And so we know that if we can take our part, then if we have any abnormalities, that here at the conference office, we want to make sure they have the education, the resources, the support that they may need. Right. And so that's why I appreciate you coming in today to talk about ways to prevent it. But, there are some risk factors that we can't prevent.
Correct.
I do know that if you start your period earlier in life or later menopause,
correct,
there's some things that we can't control that.
That's
We're
right.
Women,
That's right.
Even men get breast cancer.
Yes,
and
exactly.
so we don't want to leave them out because
That's
this
right.
conversation is for them as well. And even, what I have found is even men who have wives, they can help share this information with their wives.
Of course.
Right? Or their sisters.
Yes, definitely. And, sometimes men feel that, we're men, we're strong. But if you have a strong family history, it's wise for you to check it out. We have had men that had mastectomies. We had to remove their breasts. It's not a lot, but 1%. But we do have men can come and share stories about breast cancer because they feel this little lump and they're like, oh, that's nothing. And eventually they realize that it was indeed serious. So we also encourage men to do that examination of your breast, which is very important to help. And also as if you're breastfeeding kind of also reduces the risk of breast cancer. And as a woman, being a woman, your chances are just, you're gonna, one in how many women gonna get breast cancer. We just cannot win. But there's things, as we said, we can do to help reduce it. And we said, definitely make sure you do your exercise, make sure you do your annual check. And also we're gonna, in our next segment, we can talk about how we can screen and things we can do, signs that you look for, because you can look and see your breasts and know if there's something different and what to do next.
What comes to my mind, I'm a promoter of health and wellness, but what comes to my mind is the 8 laws of health, that if we practice those consistently, we can improve our breast health as well.
Correct.
So many times we think about, we don't want to get diabetes. I don't want to get hypertension. I don't want to have high cholesterol, because, when you go to the doctor, they do all those lab tests and
Yes.
everything. But this is something that I believe, if we did the 8 laws of health consistently and viewed our body as God's temple from
Yes.
head to toe, that we're more likely to reduce our risk. And what they're finding in research, which God already put in place, is that basic nutrition and exercise and water, sunshine that oftentimes we try to avoid
Yes.
because it's hot. And then when we look at even just being temperate in what we eat, drink, and do, air, rest,
Yes.
and stress. Let me tell you, Joylyn,
Stress.
years ago, I worked in surgery. And one of the physicians, she was a female, was doing a lot of surgery, a lot of breast surgery, biopsies and things like that. And one thing she mentioned is, she said, I think the stress that women are under is linked. I'm not going to say it's causing it,
Increases.
but it is increasing or linked to breast cancer. So when you talk about exercise, that helps reduce stress.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's
But to hear a
right.
surgeon link that to the stress that we're under, we take care of everybody else,
That's right. And, adding to what you said, doctor, a lot of times we underestimate what stress can do to you.
Yes.
Stress is a disease by itself. It's a killer. And so exercising, when I'm in the gym doing my Zumba, if you guys want to see, I can't let you see. But when I'm relaxing and I'm just having fun, you forget about everything around you, and it's awesome. Whatever it is, some people like walking, some people like playing, whatever it is, whatever makes you happy. Even sometimes walking on the beach, the very beautiful beaches in Florida, you walk on the beach every evening with the fresh air. It does so much to your body. You'll be surprised.
Well, one thing you mentioned that I thought was interesting. So you go to Zumba class and your husband and you walk, and sometimes you just need a buddy or somebody to walk with.
That's right.
In order to encourage you, right?
Yes.
And when you're thinking about breast health, if you can find a buddy that can help you to do the exercise, and you mentioned 150 minutes per week or more, up to 300, or as often as you like, find a buddy that you can actually walk with, and that can help reduce your risk of having breast cancer.
Right.
And even though we know that 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, the good news is, what about those 7 in 8 women who are not?
That's right.
So we want to be among those women who are not diagnosed with that breast cancer.
Yes.
And so we can do those simple things that we've talked about to help increase our health and our well-being. It's really about taking charge of your health. I think that's what it is. If I were to sum that up, it's, taking charge of your own health
Yes.
every day.
That's right.
It's not once a year. It's not once a week. It's that intentionality.
That's right. That's right.
So I really think that when we talk about prevention, it starts with us.
Yes.
And, many times we talk about checking our breasts, but do we need to wait until we get 35 and 40? And so we need to be able to help young women become connected to their breasts so that they will, begin to observe them, look at them, notice any difference in them.
Yes.
And that's really what they can do.
Of course. And yes, go ahead, doctor.
No, what were you thinking?
No, I was saying, and when we come back, we'll let you know exactly what ages young girls can start checking their breasts and how exactly you can go ahead doing that.
Yeah, that's important because, it's not only to know you should do it, it's to know how to do it, to know how frequently to do it. So when we come back from our break, you really want to know, at what age should women, young ladies, begin to start checking their breasts? You really want to know what is a proper way to be able to detect any abnormalities in the breast, and really how frequently should we do it. Connecting with your breasts, knowing them inside and out, and making sure that you take and I take good charge of my health to make sure that we eat, drink, whatever we do, and that's exercise and eating right.
That's right.
That we do all to the glory of God so that we can take care of these temples,
Yes.
God's body temple that He has given to us. Make sure you come back because you want to know what age is that and how do you do it. Welcome back to Let's Talk Health. Today my name is Dr. Jennifer Sankey, and today we've been talking with Joy Lynn Isaac Shirley about ways to prevent breast cancer. We know that 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, but we want to make sure that we encourage individuals to take care of their breast health. The one thing that we want to know is at what age should women begin to do their self-breast examinations? Joy Lynn, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's hear from you. I know that you have been doing mammograms for many years, and so I want to hear from you. At what age should women begin to do that self-breast exam?
Well, we recommend that age as young as 20 years old, our young girls should continue, we can teach them how to do the breast self-examination, because I have known people 25 years old had to have a mastectomy of one of the breasts. So the earlier is better. So the self-breast examination, we need to do that monthly. It's free. You don't have to pay to go and do it. You could do it right in your house, and it's very easy and simple. Also, adults, you can do your breast self-examination monthly also. If you're postmenopausal, you want to do that at least one day. You choose a day of the month each month to go on and carry that out. Also, if you have a period, you want to do it 3 to 7 days after that period where the breast is less tender. Now, they have different ways of checking your breast. First of all, you want to stand in front of the mirror and lift your arms. Just lift your arms, look at your body. It's your body. God has made it beautiful. Look at the body and see if there's, anything different from when you looked at it the last time. If you see any slight changes, do not take that for granted. You must check with your physician and see what's happening. The next thing, after you check it, you put your hands on your hip and you just turn and twist yourself and just make sure you look in the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror, you look and make sure that there is no changes or anything different in your breast. And then you lie down and you lift your arms up, put it above your head, and you'll take your right arm and you just put your 3 fingers together and you make circular movement around the breast. Circular movement around the breast in the nipple area all above, and then you move from the clavicle area, the top by your shoulders coming down. You do that all around the breast, and then you switch sides. You take your right arm up and you take that left arm with the 3 fingers and you firmly touch the breast and move it around. And if there's anything there, you will certainly feel it. As much as self-breast examination is amazing, a lot of times the annual mammogram, you can detect a lump in the breast at least 2 years before you can feel it.
Wow. So, I think that monthly check, it's almost like, how we have monthly bills. If we don't pay the bill, it's going to be a problem.
That's right.
So we need to think about our breast health at least once a month.
Yes.
And at least check it once a month.
Correct.
And it sounds like it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Now, at the age of 20, then, these young ladies should be starting their
self-examination.
Their self-examinations. Wow, that's pretty young.
Yes.
That's very young, actually.
Before, I remember growing up, we used to say certain diseases are for older people.
Yes.
Now you are amazed at kids, young people. This girl was one of the youngest person that we were diagnosed with breast cancer was 15 years old. So you're never too young. And that is a good age at 20. That's what's recommended by the American Cancer Society, that you need to go ahead and start that. And it's normal sometimes to have very cystic breasts, meaning the breast feels a little lumpy. Because remember, not all lumps are cancer.
Yes.
But if you feel anything a little different, we have tests that we can do to definitely rule out if it's anything to be worried about or if it's a simple cyst.
Wow.
The breast.
That self-check that you talked about for monthly sounds pretty simple, but for some reason we overlook our breast.
Correct.
You're right. It's part of our body. We'll wash our arms, we'll wash our neck, we'll wash our entire body. But pausing for how long does that breast exam even take?
That breast that doesn't even take, I mean, a few seconds
The
basically.
check, yeah.
I don't even think it takes a minute. You just stand there, you make it a routine, you come out and you do it. And it saves lives. It really saves a life. And strangely, some husbands do feel lumps in the wife's breast. I remember we had one situation where this patient were on a cruise, and she came back and said, my husband felt a lump in my breast. And I'm like, is he a doctor? And so little things like that, we you got to be aware that anything is possible. Whatever it takes to keep you healthy, we need to do it so that we can be able to carry on God's work.
So it sounds like men and women need to be involved in this process.
Oh,
so if you
yes.
have a wife, you need to ask, have you checked your breasts?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Have you done
Yes.
that monthly check? Just like I said, we pay the bills every
Right.
month. Check in with your wife and ask
Yes.
that question. Check in with
Correct.
yourself and make sure you take that. You said it takes 1 minute or so?
Yeah.
I kind of liked when you did this under your hips, because we love to, when we look,
Yes,
look really
yes,
cute,
yes.
But that would be kind of neat to do, just to
Yes.
make it a fun, enjoyable time that I'm taking care of my breast health.
Yes, definitely.
That my breast health is important to me. And that's really what it's all about, is we're talking about, doing that self-check.
Yes.
Is because we realize that our breast health is so important. Tell me more about mammograms. You started to talk about mammograms can detect cancers like 2 years earlier. Tell me more.
Yes. Also, before I go for like your breast, in that examination of the breast, what's some of the things you're looking for?
Okay.
Is like you want to look to see if there's any, like one breast might seems to be bigger than the other, which is normal. The breast is not symmetrical. One breast is normally bigger than the next one. Mostly the right side is, but not in everybody. Also, if you notice that there is a discharge, that's anything that's coming out of the breast. It's normal for women that's breastfeeding
Right.
or women that's pregnant to have discharge on the breast. If while you're doing that monthly examination, you realize, well, you squeeze, something is coming out of this breast here, that is called for some concern.
Absolutely.
Especially if the discharge is bloody, and or the color has a lot to do with how severe it might be. Also, you want to make sure that the breast doesn't have like the nipples being inverted. It's like my nipple has been like this all the time. Why is my nipple turned in? That is also a sign of early cancer. You want to make sure that, if it looks different, anything, just anything that looks different from the time you looked at your breast last month to this month, you want to pay attention to that.
So it sounds like our body talks to us.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Certainly.
So our opportunity is to observe what the body's doing and make sure that we're looking every single month intentionally to see if it's saying anything to us.
Yes.
Has anything changed? Now, I've also heard if the breast is like an orange peel,
Yes.
if it has like the texture has changed.
Yes, because there's a type of inflammatory breast cancer that, the outer surface of the breast looks different. It's like, an orange peel when the outside of our skin, that kind of rough edge looking. I've seen people breast and the breast gets hard. Now, unfortunately, when the breast has reached into that stage, definitely we in some serious, like it's more serious than if you just try to prevent it.
Wow.
And I like when you say that, Dr. Sankey, breast health. We want to prevent stuff from
Absolutely.
happening. We don't want to wait until it's here and then you're like, oh, I have diabetes. And that's what I said, Joy, you got to take a grip of your life. You want to prevent these things from happening. So try to exercise. I know you're trying to get that beach body. It's going to take a little bit, but keep working at it and make it fun.
And make it fun. I
Yes.
agree. Our health should be fun, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we're so serious about it, and we think about all
yeah.
the things that we cannot do, but let's think about all the things that we can do
course,
to
doctor.
have good overall general
Yes.
health. You know, we're talking about the breast health, but our overall health will benefit from the things
Exactly.
that we're talking about today.
That's
And, you know,
right.
and when you talk about just the examination taking 1 minute, so many things that we do in life take much longer than
Oh,
1
yes,
minute, right?
certainly.
But 1 minute can save our lives.
Yes, doctor.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I would encourage women. You know, I'm like, do myself breast examination? Bad joy, because you know better. And I know sometimes we get busy and caught up. So if you have not been doing that, just start now. It's not too late.
Yes.
Start that breast self examination, and you will be surprised to know how you can reduce your risk of even reaching the stage of having breast cancer.
Let's talk a little bit about mammograms.
Yes.
Because, you know, I know you were talking about your years of experience of doing the mammograms, and you've kind of alluded to it a little bit. I want to hear more about mammograms and more about what they do, what women should expect. I mean, we've had all kind of stories.
Yes.
But let me hear about why is getting a mammogram at the age of 35 if you have a family history, or at the age of 40, you know, if you
Yes.
do not have a family history of breast cancer.
Yes.
Why is that mammogram? What is it showing us? What's the importance of it?
So the thing about the mammogram is that, I mean, yes, we said we do that breast self-examination, great. You might feel something, but remember, when you start feeling something, that means that lump has grown, that you can feel it. With the mammogram, you can see that little tiny area with that lump that you didn't feel on that mammogram. That's how it is. So when you your annual mammogram, we'll realize that, wow, this was not this last year. And I also tell people, if for some reason you are moving to a new area and you said, okay, I'm moving, because people move all the time, it's wise to walk with your previous mammograms. Why? Because the radiologist compares the previous mammogram with the one you have today. So if there's any changes at all, he can say, wow, this mammogram has like a cyst that was not there last year. There are some calcifications in this mammogram that I did not see last year. Maybe we need to do some further testing, which would lead on to having biopsy done, and we're going to talk a little more about that. But mammograms, sometimes it can be a little difficult in terms of people being very sensitive in your breast. And that's why it's wise to schedule your mammogram 7 to 10 days after your period, because around that time the breast is not that sensitive. Because, you know, women say all the time, just before my period, my breast, you do not want to do a mammogram within that period of time, if possible. And so I always tell people, if you have your yearly mammogram, you will be surprised to know that if we should see anything looks like a little cancer cell or a little cyst there, or even calcification, we can remove that area by doing biopsies and get rid of that, like if you never even have anything there.
So, Joylyn, you keep using the word calcifications, and
Yes.
that's a big word. So what is that? I mean, I've heard about calcium that we take by mouth, but when
Yes.
you say calcifications, tell our audience, what is calcification?
So calcification is something we see in the breast, like they call it calcium deposits.
Okay.
So the calcium deposits, you cannot feel it in your breast. So you can do breast examination as much as you like, but you would not see that. The only way you can be able to detect those calcifications is if you do a mammogram. What it is, it looks like, salt, little streaks of salt in the breast tissue. Sometimes we all have little calcifications in the breast, but there is different shape of the calcification that makes it, distinct and worrisome. Also, if the breast has a certain amount of calcification this year, and then when you come back next year, you realize, wow, it's growing. The fact that it's increasing in numbers, we need to be concerned, because why is it increasing? Something is not right. And then the doctor, the radiologist, would recommend the biopsy. And as we said, the biopsy will take out that area and test it. And as we said, some of the times it is definitely breast cancer.
Thank you so much for joining us for Let's Talk Health. We are so glad that you joined us today, and I would ask that you would like us on our YouTube channel. It is important that we know that what we're providing to you gives you good information, resources, and support that you may need on this journey. Next time, we'll talk more about breast health, but I would say to you, if you have any questions, please reach out to us at health, HEALTH, at secsda.org. Again, that is health, HEALTH, at secsda.org. Until next time, be healthy.